for today's session, what I'd like to talk about a little bit is about the trends transforming AML and responsible gaming. Trying to get this to move. Oops. I think I've made a mistake. Okay, there we go. Just 1 second. Okay, so generally, I've truly enjoyed the conversation that has gone on this morning. It was wonderful to hear from everybody speaking, and I've most enjoyed the session that just happened now, because a lot of the conversation was about things that actually touch on areas that technology can actually support. And for my talk, I want to just basically focus on how technology can actually assist solve a lot of the problems that have been mentioned since morning. So I think the way we look at it, and the best way to look at it is, what does AML truly look at when it comes to gaming, and basically in general compliance and risk management. So the first thing I'd like to think about is, okay, first, we always start with data. Do we have the right data for all the things that we want to do? And the first thing we want to do is, number one, confirm that the people who are actually on our platforms, the people who are gaming, are actually who they say they are. Number two, that they are doing exactly what they're saying that they're doing. And number three, that they are doing it for the reasons that we truly believe that they are doing. So going to the next slide. I do not know how to use this. Okay. So number one, identity and verification. Does the person using the platform are they actually who they say they are? So what are the technologies that help us confirm that this is the person who they say they are? They are the age that they say they are when it comes to gaming. They are actually there for the right reasons. Are they a scammer? Are they actually trying to do other things that they're not supposed to be doing? So the first thing that we need is an AI-powered eKYC with biometrics. This is actually a tool that is available and we use in various markets in M-PESA, where we are actually using real-time biometrics to ensure that people are actually who they say they are. And there are actually lots of vendors who are able to provide this facility and this service to confirm. One of the ones that I think are one of the best ways for us to use is actually something like facial recognition. Facial recognition is actually fantastic because majority of us only have one face, whereas multiple people have, we all have more than one finger. So when it comes to fingerprints, you have multiple fingers, but you have only one face. So using AI, it helps to actually identify that the face that you're using is actually yours, that you're alive, because we need to ensure that the person who's signing up on that app is a real life person, right? So that's why we need to use biometrics to actually help us there. And that's one of the great tools that is actually improving and developing every day to become much, much better. Behavioral biometrics. These are tools that are actually available now, where you're able to actually use the behavior that is actually pulled out from, whether it's typing, whether it's how you're moving your tools, to actually identify who you really are. And then there's age estimation via AI. Using facial biometrics, using facial screening, you're able to actually identify the age of the person who is using it. And this is very important. We had a lot about Botswana and the limit for 21 years and not 18 like most countries. How do you actually identify this? The tools available now are more than able to verify within a very good degree of accuracy the age of the person who's actually using the tool. Okay, good. So the next one is the suspicious activity. So this one is quite important for AML specifically, because we need to know that the activity that we are seeing is actually related to the actual activity that is supposed to be happening. So one of the things that we actually have to really narrow down on, and that tools in the past have not helped us very well, is AI-driven anomaly detection. So basically, previously, we have used rules and basically saying, if this person does this or this or this, then we automatically channel them as a risky person. But now, we are actually using AI-driven anomaly detection, which is actually a much better way of doing it because we are able to target, and we have seen in actual use, patterns emerging of people who we would previously not have identified as somebody who is actually performing risky behavior, but now we are able to actually see that this is coming out from AI usage. Blockchain analytics, my colleague spoke about it, graph-based transaction analysis. This is so important because using graphs and graphical interfaces, we're able to actually map relationships between accounts and transactions to actually figure out hidden networks. So this is another important one. The next one is behavior prediction. I think the last panel had quite some conversation on responsible gambling, for example. And there was a question of how do you actually balance regulation versus the profit that the company, which is actually doing this, is able to do. So basically, I think one of the things that we've seen, and I'm diverting a little bit from what I have here, is basically how can technology support, for example, responsible gambling. One of the things that we've seen, and we've seen this in Lesotho as one of our markets, is having a gambling opt-out functionality from the payment side. This has actually helped people to be able to, especially when, for example, you have a difficulty in actually judging when you should gamble and when you shouldn't, or you're not the right age, or various things, you can actually use these tools that help you to ensure that the people on your platform are the right age and they're responsible gamblers. So if you're not gambling, if you, for example, you have a problem, you can opt out. What we do is we increase the friction when you want to come back, okay? So most of the time, if you want to gamble now. So what we do, we increase some friction. Maybe you have to wait 48 hours before you can re-register and so on. It increases the friction. As I think the guy who was here, I think his name was Nikolai, said, the best customers are the customers who are able to use the gaming facilities or do all the things on our platforms from a place of responsibility rather than people who are under compulsion of some sort or having some difficulty of some sort. Those are the best customers. So what we do is you can use technology to support that. So just 3 more things. Just AI-powered predictive risk scoring. So when we want to risk score customers in terms of who are the ones who are most likely to be a risky customer, to ensure that we're preventing them, AI is so much more able to do this by pulling out patterns of behavior and patterns of basically tracking what they've been doing in a way that helps us analyze user behavior and assign risk scores that are much more accurate than previously. Because one of the big problems that previous technology for AML, fraud, and basically just financial issues has always been having too many alerts on people who are probably just having a normal activity online. So we have too many alerts, we have too many people spending too much time digging into alerts that they could have saved their time. What AI is helping us do is narrow down and get to the core of the problem much faster and much easier than previously. So basically helping us have the right score translates into fewer alerts, translates into saving so much more time and so much more energy on so many people. Now a good one is the natural language processing for chat analysis. Now, one of the issues that I really don't think I've heard today, maybe it was spoken before or it shall be spoken, is something like terrorism financing. Now, using natural language processing helps you to figure out what are people saying? What are people actually saying? Is this somehow translating into something that we are trying to avoid? Is it translating into something that we want to ensure that doesn't happen? For example, terrorism funding. This has actually been done in place using AI in DRC, where we have quite a lot of war ongoing at the moment. It's easier to narrow down on activities and money moving around that is actually related to activities that we do not want to fund. So basically using AI, it helps us to get to the root of the core of the problem much, much sooner. Last one is reinforcement learning. With technology previously, we haven't had technology that was learning based on the activities that we have. We rely on the people who have never moved from our business to a different business and rely on their memory. But now, we're actually having tools that are growing with us, that are noticing patterns that were not noticeable before. So basically, that is where we're going, and that is what is so important to us going forward, ensuring that the tools that we have are learning from the activities that are happening and predicting before a human being could actually have noticed that this is something that was going to happen. So basically, I think those are the three things that I wanted to just cover, because there's so much in the emerging technologies right now, a lot of it focused on AI, blockchain, and so on. But I think the most important thing for us to know now, to ensure that our systems are based on integrity and that everyone who's using them is who they say they are, doing what they say they're doing, and for the reasons that they say they're doing them. We need to harness emerging technologies, AI, biometrics, blockchain, the big words right now, and so useful because it's not in the future, it's happening now. Let's embrace this. I think my colleague said the same. Let's embrace the technology that's coming because it's going to make our work much easier. We need to be proactive. We need to ensure that we are empowering all operators to identify threats early. We don't want to find that somebody has been in our systems for too long and created too much damage before we've actually noticed this. And then let's drive continuous innovation. Staying ahead requires ongoing investment in tools. It will cost something, but better to cost now rather than later. So basically, I think that's what I wanted to cover. And let guys go for lunch. It's been a wonderful session so far, and I'm so grateful to be here. Thank you so much.